live in a time where there's a plethora of information right at our fingertips, and you could just go on your phone and you look up something on the internet and boom, you have it right there. But what if I told you this is
I meant to say isn't
always a good thing, and in some cases could be detrimental to society? Well, that's the topic of this video. Today, I'm gonna do a deep dive into why black media is cooked and the anti-blackness in the media. Now, when I say cooked, what exactly do I mean by that? Well, in this case, I'm talking about how most black media sources are nothing but glorified gossip reels. So you know how you go to the grocery store and you see those magazines when you're about to check out with the outrageous headlines? Yeah, that's kind of how black media is usually written. You know what I mean? Like the overly outrageous headlines. So it just meant to catch your attention, and that's basically all I want, just your attention, not anything to gratify your brain, just your attention. Now, I wouldn't go as far to say they were made for white people, but I will say they weren't made for black people. Most of those news outlets deal with the majority of the population, and the majority of the population happens to be white. So the majority of news is just gonna naturally be white because that's just the law of averages. It just makes sense. But since, you know, black people are the minority, have the minority of the news. So this leads you to search for information that is more geared towards your interest in black culture. And here lies the problem. Instead, black people have access to outlets like Say Cheese, Rap House TV, Daily Loud, and I just want to say, not all the information on these accounts are bad, just the majority of it. So for a while, I've been keeping track of all these different headlines in a thread, and I picked some of my favorites, or some of the most outrageous ones I've seen. I just highlighted it, and I have a thread ongoing on Twitter, and if you don't follow me on Twitter, you should go kind of like follow me. Like, I kind of tweet good stuff here and there, but that's besides the point. So a common trend of all these ones I've highlighted is they all have clickbaity titles. Now, when I say clickbait, I mean they're just supposed to get your attention and just like, oh wow, that's crazy. And that's kind of where the fulfillment ends. Like, it's just supposed to be of shock value, and a lot of people engage in this content. And a lot of the time, there's no articles attached to this. It's just a headline and a picture, and there's no context. And these tweets are designed like this because they want people to mindlessly just click on them and engage in the content because it's supposed to be engaging. And boom, that's enough. And we live in a society where it's very reactionary, and a lot of these claims will be taken at face value, because if you see it, then it must be true, right? And I've seen times where if the post wasn't good enough, people will be in the comment section engaging regardless, and it could be a post and they'll blatantly lie in the headline, and like if you do a little bit of research, you'll know that they're lying. But the people don't do that little bit of research, and they hear the story and they just run with it. So on top of the very little credibility, there's no sources. Like, there's nothing to cite, and if there's no cited evidence, it's like, why would I believe this? This leads me to my final point. A lot of these sources thrive off negativity and pointless debates. And if you know anything about black culture, we love a good pointless conversation. So if you combine all these elements, it makes for a perfect trap. You know, it causes people to be negative. It kind of leads people to unproductive conversation, and unproductive conversation keeps people complacent because it's fun, right? Like, it's cool to, you know, talk about nonsense here and there. It's entertaining, but you have to be able to separate entertainment from actual news, and this is what I want to highlight. That's what black news outlets do not do. Like, they're conjoined efforts, and it's like it gets lost in translation. Like I was saying before, they don't only post bad content, but that's the majority of it. And when the majority of your news is just negative, it's kind of a poor reflection on the community. And by distracting people, it kind of warps their ideals, and they don't really care about the important issues as much as they should. It also controls the narrative of how black people act and what they represent, because a lot of people who don't interact with black people on the daily, they only know what they can see, and what they see is a negative. So negative traits are associated with black people, and there lies the anti-blackness of this whole thing. A lot of the times, black people aren't being represented to their best capabilities. You know, there's a lot of successful black people, there's a lot of black success going on, but a lot of these times, only the negative stuff and the controversial stuff is highlighted. But again, this is by design. You know, a lot of the stuff, like, you want to keep the positivity hidden away because it encourages the mindset that black people can't do certain things. You can tell because it's a lot harder to find positive content than it is to find negative content. So when your media system set up like this, it's kind of hard to wake people up and expose them to the injustices that they're seeing because it's all they know. So while I was writing the script for this video, I was like, how am I gonna cite my sources? Because who am I? I'm just a dude with 170 subscribers on YouTube talking in front of a camera. So I decided, I was like, you know what would a regular person doesn't know anything about this do and try and see some disparities? So I Googled it. And I provided my live commentary when I was looking at these sources, and I gave my initial thoughts. Let me transition you to me in the past.
Yeah, you can see I already clicked on some of these because I kind of got the idea as I was writing it. But yeah, so let's go to blacknews.com. All right, find a job, celebrity health women. Okay. You know, when I thought of Black News, I didn't think it would be separated by gender. All right, so let's go to news1.com. Okay. Jonathan Majors, more controversy, social justice. The first thing on the Black website, social justice, politics, Black folklore. Oh my goodness. News. Okay, I think this is pretty cool. I will admit, I was gonna hate on this, but after sitting and thinking about it, this is pretty cool. In fact, we're highlighting Black success. This is very important. More negative news again. Regular news without putting Black people in front of it and see what we can find. Don Lemon has been fired. That's the first thing we see about Black people. And the majority of the stuff is geared towards white people. Oh, wait. Deion Sanders losing so many players this week at Colorado. Once again, negative article. And I've been scrolling for a little bit, and this is the first headline I've seen with Black people in it. And again, it's negative news. NBC is a lot more color friendly, and I don't think this one is necessarily negative headlines. I just think it's headlines, and Black people just happen to be featured more because it's more inclusive. So that's cool. And they also had the NBC Black part. So okay, this website has majority only white people. Once again, not a problem. It's just that's the majority. Like I said, the majority of the population is white people.
So what's the takeaway from this video? You know, I just want you to be more astute when you're consuming media, okay? I'm not telling you should block all these accounts and become an activist and you don't have to indulge in any Black media for the rest of your life. I'm not at all saying that. I just think it's important to be able to distinguish what is actual news and important and what we need to do to better the Black community, and on the other hand, entertainment. So sometimes it's okay to just, you know, indulge in Black culture and appreciate the fine arts and the things that we have to offer. But that's all I got for now. It's LD and I'm signing out. Peace.